Hey, Rowan. Um, this is kind of a story of how things used to be. Um, there, things have changed in the world, and way back, well, not even way back. I mean, when your father was young, 8, 9, 10, 12, etc., movies would come out, and they would be released at midnight, and everyone would go to the movie theater and stand in line to watch the first showing of a movie. So I think the first movie we did this with was Star Wars Phantom Menace. So that is Star Wars movie one, but it's actually the fourth one made because they were done out of order. But the first movie we went to see like this was The Phantom Menace. And so we went and camped out, and we had a blanket, and we sat on the concrete, and there were all of these people around us, and we would sit and we would talk and we would discuss, oh, what do you think is going to happen, what about this, what about that, what about the other thing. And this was something that people did back in the day. You would stand in line. We stood in line at Barnes and Noble, which is a bookstore. I don't know if they'll still be in business if there's one around you, but we'd stand in line at Barnes and Noble to get the new Harry Potter book. Or we would stand in line to see the new Harry Potter movie, and we would go at midnight. So there would be times where we get the new Harry Potter book, and it comes out, and we're sitting around reading it, read a chapter, read a chapter, read a chapter. And, if you get the book at midnight and start reading it at midnight, how late are you when you get to chapter 5 or 6 and Harry's at Hogwarts? So this was just this thing that people used to do where they would go and they would stand in line, and there was this sort of togetherness with the crowd that you don't have anymore, where you don't have people standing in line together, where you have to be there at a particular place at a particular time, because in the past few years it's like, okay, I want to watch Star Wars at midnight, so I'm going to buy the tickets a week early and just show up and walk in and watch the movie. Or I'm going to pre-order the book on Amazon and it shows up the next day and I get to read it then. Um you don't have this sort of sense of community of doing these things. I mean, it used to be a common occurrence. I mean, when I was a kid, people would stand in line to get concert tickets. So it's like, you'd have people standing in line and they would show up in class all bleary eyed as like, yeah, I just got the Iron Maiden tickets or the Metallica tickets. Or So, it was a thing where people would stand in line, and it's weird to kind of miss that because it's just this tremendous waste of time, because I mean, you could spend the time better doing just about anything than standing in place. There are a few places where people still stand in line, but you can pay people to stand in line for you. But, I don't know. It's a weird thing about the world that you will probably never experience, of this sort of group standing in line waiting for something to happen. Um, but if it does, remember this, and remember that you can have fun while standing in line. Actually, great story about this, it just came to mind. Uh, Back when I took Wood Badge, which was a Boy Scout training, and your father took it at the same time, and Lolly was helping to give the training. There was some miscommunication, and we were told to wait one place, and the staff was waiting someplace else for us to show up. And we were just sort of confused and waiting, and so we started singing. And there was a song, here we sit like birds in the wilderness, birds in the wilderness, birds in the wilderness. Here we sit like birds in the wilderness, waiting for the staff to come. And, we just started singing that. And then we started making up verses. And in Wood Badge, everyone gets assigned a critter. And so there were beaver, bobwhite, eagle, fox, owl, bear, buffalo, and antelope. So, hey, I remembered them all. Lolly gave me a nod of approval, so, I got them all in order. So we started making up verses, one for each one, and eventually the staff showed up. But you can have fun when you're waiting in line, and don't be afraid to have fun while you're waiting in line. But as I said, you're probably not going to be waiting in line much anymore. Maybe the DMV, but even that's like gone away. So it's like pre-schedule this.
Tell me about the U.S. Mint and Xavier and the squirrels.
U.S. Mint and Xavier and the Squirrels.
Yeah, Paul's girlfriend.
Yeah. Okay.
We were waiting in line to get into the Mint.
Okay, I remember Xavier and waiting in line to get this. What about the squirrels?
The squirrel song. So we sang the squirrel song.
Oh yes. Another time waiting in line. Before Paul met your mom, before his first wife, he had a girlfriend, and she had a son Xavier. And they came to visit us, and we went down to Washington, D.C., and we'll take you down to Washington, D.C. at some point and do all the fun stuff, and even some of the not fun stuff. And where we were waiting was outside of the U.S., or outside of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. That's where the government prints its money. So you can go in and you can watch them printing press. So, you can watch the money printer go. Anyway, so we had to wait to get in because there were only so many people. It's like only so many people allowed in the tour and so many tours per day, and the tours go at this particular time, and this is the way the government works. It's like, okay, you will be here in this line at 9:15 for the 9:30 tour, and then the 9:30 tour is going to go through the metal detector and yada, 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 yada. So we were standing out front of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, and there was Xavier, and he was 4. He was 4. This was 8 years ago or something like. It was a while ago, so he's old now. He's like 15, old. Anyway, he was 4, and he was just excited about the squirrels. I mean, little squirrels. He wasn't used to them. And so we started singing a song. And this was another Boy Scout song, and it's gray squirrel, shake your bushy tail. Gray squirrel, shake your bushy tail. Wrinkle up your little nose. Put a nut between your toes. Gray squirrel, shake your bushy tail. And so we started doing this. And then other people started doing this. And, I mean, it was just a big goof because singing a song meant for little kids, and there were little kids, but we got the grown-ups to join in. Another time, standing in line, actually they've even stopped standing in line at rides and amusement parks because you can get the pre-pass and go ahead and skip the line, but you stand in line at an amusement park to get on a ride. So we were standing in line at Universal Studios to get on some ride. I can't remember what it was. And they have this long, windy maze. You go down one and you come back up and you go back down. So here we all are in this big, long line. Herded in like sheep. And so your father said, "Bah!" because we were herded in like sheep. And I said, "Bah!" And then other people started, "Bah!" So you had, 50, 80 people standing in line to get into this ride. And maybe a good 10 or 15 of us are going, "Bah! Bah! Bah!" Needless to say, word got back that there was something weird going on. And, word got into whatever head office there were. And then all of a sudden, 2 or 3 characters, people in costume dressed up as characters showed up. So you had somebody dressed up as Doc Brown from Back to the Future. It may have been in the Back to the Future ride, but showed up as Doc Brown, and there was somebody else, and it's like a clown making balloon animal showed up, and it was just like all of this stuff to keep us distracted because we started going bah. So have fun when you can in line. It's
Another sheep one
another sheep one, yeah.
on the cruise.
Lolly, yep. That was the same trip that we went on a cruise. And so I was the one probably who put the idea into your father's head to buy like a sheep, because when we were in the cruise, waiting to get off the boat, waiting to go through customs.
It was the fire drill.
It was the fire drill?
It was the life vest drill.
Okay, Lolly's correcting me. It was the life vest drill. We were doing the life vest drill where, it's a safety thing. So you got to go, put on the life vest. You got to go to where your escape ship is. And they do this so everyone knows how to do it in theory in case there's an actual emergency. Whether or not it happens right in the actual emergency, who knows? But they have the drills. Anyway, so we started doing the drill. It's like, okay, everyone, put on your life vest, go like this, go in line. And so here we were in line, and I had this is like, we're sheep, just following blindly, bah. Paul went, bah. And then that's what inspired him later at Universal Studios to go, bah. And it's amazing how people just kind of follow along, knowing, appreciating the silliness of the situation. So have a great day, Regicide.